For more reviews like this, or like other kinds of reviews or interviews, or there's a lot of, just subscribe to Film Companion. Hello people, I've been out traveling for a few weeks, but I'm back. What did I miss? Did you guys see Panchayat Season 2 yet? I've heard exclusively glorious things about it and I can't wait to watch it. But till then, we have this week's big release to dive into, Season 3 of Aashram on MX Player. And I do mean big release. Aashram reportedly got 450 million streams within 2 months of its release back in 2020. And lead actor Bobby Deol recently told Film Companion in an interview that the show reached a viewership of 1.6 billion. Now, I don't know exactly what those numbers mean, but even my limited brain knows that that's a whole lot of views. And now, everyone's favorite Baba behaving badly is back for Season 3. The Prakash Jha directed series follows sinister godman Baba Nirala, played by a stone-faced Bobby Deol. While he positions himself to be a holy humanitarian savior of the people to his massive following, in reality he's got his fingers in everything from drugs, politics and murder to racketeering, land grabbing and beyond. This is a grotesque godman who bribes, blackmails, threatens and has people killed from his lavish mansion masquerading as an ashram. Not to mention making his way through a roster of young girls, giving them his blessing by drugging and raping them. Basically just an all-round terrible, shitty human being with the power to do whatever he wants and get away with it. All while being aided by his loyal, equally ruthless right hand, Bhopa, played by an impressive Chandan Roy Sanyal. Following the events of last season, Baba Nirala is now more powerful than ever with the newly elected CM under his thumb. But he still wants more. This season follows his continuing stranglehold over the authorities, all while a handful of honest souls try to expose the truth of who he really is. Aashram offers an undeniably entertaining, deliciously pulpy world set in the Indian streaming space's favourite setting, the lawless small-town Badlands brimming with dirty politicians, crooked cops and crime. It also has the foundations of a solid show, between its seedy settings, solid casting, twisted characters and a sense of urgency in the narrative. But where I struggled with the earlier seasons was the tacky, tasteless filmmaking, which was frequently jarring despite being directed by a seasoned filmmaker like Prakash Jha. You can feel the filmmaker diluting his storytelling to make it more accessible. This isn't quite Prakash Jha, it's Prakash Jha on MX Player. Thankfully, this season feels like a marked improvement. The craft and execution is smoother and there's an evenness to the flow and rhythm of the scenes. That, together with the increased stakes this time of good people desperately trying to expose the Baba, makes this arguably the strongest season so far. Aashram is also a remarkably consistent show in both good and bad ways. More than a developing story or the evolution of characters, each season seems to offer the same distinctive repetitive experience time and again, in the same vein as shows like Stranger Things or Inside Edge. But on the flip side, you can't really tell one plot point or episode from another. You could watch a random scene from the show and chances are you won't know which season it belongs to. Season 3 also once again offers a tiring 10-episode runtime, which the narrative certainly doesn't earn. After a point in the latter half of the season, the plot becomes a muddled, bloated blur of backstabbing and politicking and just seems to go in circles to bide time till the dramatic finale. It doesn't help that certain arcs feel thrown in for the sake of more empty thrills. For example, Season 3 introduces a renowned global PR consultant played by Isha Gupta. She comes in to help transform Baba's image, which makes sense. That is until she randomly breaks into an item song to seduce and sleep with him because, of course, Machwal Masala Sexy Party. As the conniving conman masquerading as the Messiah, Bobby Deol continues to bring a distinct iciness and intimidating presence to Baba Nirala, but he doesn't quite have the magnetism to make a fascinating cult leader-like figure as interesting as he could be. Instead, for me, Aashram is a Chandan Roy Sanyal show, as his Bhopa is the far more compelling character and performance. So much so that after a point, I started to see him as the protagonist, and this as the story of a sharp, calculating fixer trying to oversee and maintain a criminal empire while also having to manage the whims and tantrums of the egoistic figurehead godman that he works for. It also must be said that while Avinash Kumar and Madhvi Bhatt are credited as writing associates and Sanjay Masoom with additional dialogue, the story, screenplay and dialogue of the show are all credited to PJP team, which to me reeks of yet another show refusing to give writers due credit. It's also an oddly meta godman-like thing to do, no? To take all the credit where possible. But I think my biggest issue with Aashram, despite all its delectably entertaining thrills, is the show's odd approach and strange relationship with its protagonist. Baba Nirala is a horrid human being who spends his days date raping, bullying and blackmailing, but this show doesn't feel like a character study of a terrible person. He's really not as complex and nuanced as the show hopes. Despite his actions, the series seems to approach him with a sense of reverence. We're always looking up to him, almost like his followers would. It sent me down a strange rabbit hole of thinking about what exactly makes an anti-hero and if this qualifies. Is it someone we love to hate or hate to love? But in this case, he's neither. For me, then, Aashram isn't the indictment of Godman that it hopes to be. It doesn't justify any of his actions, but nor does it really condemn them. I was always very aware that the central character or hero here just happens to be a villain, or maybe the villain a hero. In the end, Aashram may not have the writing craft, competence or sophistication of similarly themed shows like Mirzapur, but it's still massively entertaining and of course, it's free. But regardless of what I or anyone else thinks, the fact is, in the few minutes that you've been watching this review, the show probably just clocked in yet another bajillion views. You can watch Aashram Season 3 on MX Player.